Hello, and we're doing September's Q&A today. The first one is from O'Shea.Adrienne, 50. It says, "Hi Rosemary, I would really appreciate any nutritional suggestions for ulcerative colitis. Currently trying gluten-free, but would love to know of any beneficial foods, supplements or ideas. Thank you." Okay, so ulcerative colitis can be a really, really uncomfortable issue, problem to have. And so all I can say is that you need to try and keep it to an anti-inflammatory diet. So things like oily fish are really good. The oil in the fish is really helpful and anti-inflammatory. Things like leafy greens, so fresh fruit and vegetables to try and keep the inflammation in your whole body down. Things like red meat, caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, all the things everybody loves, tend to make the body irritated and irritable, which then will make your situation worse. If you're having a flare-up, then try to have soft foods. You could puree them. Obviously, high fibre is going to irritate it more, but ironically, what you do want is you want fibre when you're not having a flare-up to help keep things moving along so things don't sit in the colon. From a supplement point of view, vitamin A is really important. It helps with the skin cells. Also things like I said, essential fatty acids, so omega fish oils would be really good. What else did I say? Oh yeah, probiotics. Try and get probiotics going. You want to make sure that your gut flora is as strong as it can be and helping the digestion of all the food that goes through it. And the other one that I thought of was glutamine. So glutamine you find in cabbage, and it helps to seal the guts. It helps to heal the gut wall. So if you've got a problem with your gut wall, which you would have if you have ulcerative colitis, then that would be great. The other thing you could try if you're having a terrible time with it, is you could try enemas using wheatgrass. Wheatgrass enemas have been shown to be really beneficial. It's you might not be up for it, but if you are, it's been shown to be really helpful for this. Okay, so I hope that helps. The next one, Am Shepherd 4, 54, 454, not sure. Anyway, it says, "Hello, I'm beginning to feel the effects of being perimenopausal. Are there really any foods that can help me through this transition? Thank you for any tips." Okay, so the first thing to think about is if you're eating any foods that are out of plastic, so xenoestrogens, so water bottles that are plastic and left in the sun, they seem to, if they're hot, they're more likely to melt xenoestrogens into the water. If you eat food out of plastic containers, try to avoid all of those cling film plastic. A lot of them have something called xenoestrogen, which act like an estrogen in your body, and then they get out of sync with the progesterone levels in your body and will make it worse. Things to increase, you want to increase things like pulses and beans and lentils. They have isoflavones in them which will help stabilize your hormones. Nuts and seeds are really good, especially Brazil nuts and sesame seeds, because they're full of calcium, which will help any osteoporosis that might occur. You need to make sure you keep your bone density up, so make sure you're having lots of calcium, and those two also have really good fats in them, which will help the joints. You could eat, so people get funny about soy. If you have a thyroid issue, then you have to be careful about soy. But what we're talking about is fermented soy, not like tofu. So things like tempeh, miso, you can get fermented soy tofu. Things like that are actually really good for you. They're really good for your hormones, and they're really good for perimenopause. So have a look and see. I'm a big fan of tempeh. It's not very well known, but it's kind of a nutty thing, and then you can use it in a stir fry or something, and it would be great for you, along with brassicas actually. So the brassica family, again, make sure if you have a thyroid issue, don't have them raw, steam them, because they're goitrogenic for thyroid. So steam them. Things like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, they're all really helpful for your hormones. So I hope that helps. If you are really suffering, things like sage are fantastic for hot flushes. I've had so much success. I say it all the time, but it's been so brilliant for me in clinic. It's worked so well. And the other thing, B12, especially if you're vegetarian, I don't know if you are, but B12 tends to be low when women go through the menopause, and boosting it a bit is very helpful. Okay, I hope that helps you. Okay, next is IE Salt Mayfair. 58. Hi Rosemary, do you have any tips for fatigue and low energy due to low iron? How long might it take to restore iron levels through diet and nutrition without supplements? And are there any foods that would best be avoided? Thanks. Okay, so iron is a tricky one. If you're very deficient, you would be anemic, and in that case, you probably would have to resort to iron supplements, which, as a nutritionist, I'm not a big fan of. They cause terrible constipation. They're pretty synthetic, but if you're that low in iron, it's quite difficult to get your levels back up. If you're feeling slightly low in iron, you can do it through food. So things that have iron in them are avocado. Spinach does have a lot of iron, so do other green leafies. Things like liver, fish, meat. There's loads of things with it. Nuts and seeds have some iron. So you can do it through food. Something that you would want to avoid is something like copper. Anything with too much copper. I don't know where you would get that. But if you're taking a multivitamin, you need not copper, calcium. You want to avoid calcium, so don't eat like loads of spinach and have loads of cheese with it, because it makes it more difficult for you to absorb the iron. So try to, if you're trying to get iron through your diet, try to not have it with a calcium, calcium source. And if you really are being very strict about that, make sure you take a calcium supplement before you go to bed, because otherwise you will be, you really need calcium for all sorts of things, and obviously your bones. But but what I would suggest, because iron can be a tricky one to get and absorb, is to try something called Spartone. It's a very gentle iron supplement. You have it in the morning. Make sure you have it with something with vitamin C, like a tomato or orange juice or whatever, but make sure you have some vitamin C, because it helps it to be absorbed into the body. There's another one called Floridix, which is a nice one too. Or get a multivitamin, because you need quite a few different things. You need vitamin A, vitamin C, you need copper, that's what I said earlier. You need magnesium, I think, or manganese to help absorb the iron. So if you get an iron emphasised multi, they will have all those things which will help you to absorb the iron into your system. So it can take a while to get your iron back up. So just stick at it. Okay.